That really was. That was. I still maintain that like that temple was the best encounter I've ever had.
It was terrifying. You got me
I
chilled to the bone in real life.
I had so much fun too. I had so much fun running that with all of the like kind of like red herrings that were buried and everything, and it was and then like the conclusion with the archaeologist being like the bad guy the whole time,
Mind
and like
blown. Never saw it coming.
it was so good. It was so good. I did such a good job with like planning it out, and I had maps for almost everything, and I had so much fun running that encounter.
I'm so glad I recorded it. I think I got 2 sessions of that
If you
recorded.
got like the last and second to last session, then you got
got the whole
85%
yeah.
of the encounter, and you at least got all the good parts.
I'll have to check my hard drive or just re-download it from Rumble and upload it to this YouTube channel here within the next few days because that is worth a watch.
I would actually like to go back and like it's old enough now that I don't remember everything.
You should go back. And
so I would
then.
very much like to go back and listen to it.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of role playing, let's get back into some Dungeons and Dragons in Chult. Now, who remembers what happened last?
I do. I have notes.
Woo!
All right. Let's see. So there was a bunch of stuff that I noted down about the previous session that I had missed from like Kermit and a bunch of stuff about like tropes, but I will skip to. Let's see. We entered a swamp, which means we made some slower progress. There was a fork in the river, and we went to the right, which ended up taking us further inland. Then we encountered some Aldani.
Do you remember, like, the Aldani as in the lobster folk? I don't know why
Yes.
I said do you remember.
The lobster people.
I just
Weird
wanted to
lobster
mention that.
people with
Yeah.
human faces.
I try to
And
tell
they
you.
got eaten by a giant snapping turtle.
What's that, Zach?
Oh, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. But I got to tell you, I was at Winco the next day with Liz, and there was like a huge thing of like frozen like giant crawfish, and I just like picked one up and I went up and was like, Eldani. I'm gonna think that next time I go eat like shellfish. And
I didn't know monsters could look so tasty. That one looked kind of weird though.
The human face, it was too much.
I like my shellfish without the face.
Without the face. Yeah. Dude, I agree. Surprisingly,
Valley.
Yeah, surprisingly, it's a lot better without a face.
There was a storm, but we weathered that by hiding in that temple that had like the dwarven runes.
Which I have further developed, so it actually makes sense now.
Awesome.
I pulled that out of thin air when that happened.
I have a note here about Tavok's reaction damage, about just so that because we keep forgetting that sometimes. Then I've got a map, a kind of terrible map here of we left the raft here and went about 30 minutes to the north.
Where you left the plucked monkey?
Yeah, here's the raft, then we went up here, which is where we met the Kinku, and then we went to the Kinku village, which is up here.
Sweet! Those are excellent. Excellent.
We got a friendship necklace from them, and then we are 10 miles south of VORN and 10 miles north of...
Friendship necklace.
Okay. You forgot the most important part was we made an actual ally, like a legitimate friend in Chult.
And not just one, like a
people. Like a people. We now have some friends in the community, or we have a friendly community in Chult. I feel like that's worth noting down because we have been attacked by literally everything.
I'm doing my job well. Yeah, if you weren't being attacked by everything, you wouldn't be in Chult, you'd be in some other jungle.
Exactly.
Though, jungles are dangerous.
Hey guys, look on the bright side. We haven't been attacked by the trees.
Yeah. Right, don't put that. Don't give Dan ideas.
I'm superstitious. I am a little stitious. So,
I'm superstitious. I think that makes sense. So yeah, let's pick up right as your friend, the Kenku who understands the Elvish. He. Let's see. So I believe you probably spent the night there. After that trading went on, I kind of forgot what time it was. It doesn't really matter. It's the next day, and the Kenku comes to you, and he wants to converse with you, get to know you a little better. You're welcome to get to know, just talk with him casually if you want. But the point, he's trying to give you a little information about himself. He ends up telling you his name again. He did before. It was difficult to make out, but now that you've been around him for a little bit longer, it's easier because you recognize that he makes, the sound of raven squawking, but he doesn't really use words like you do. Even though he understands the Elvish. You glean from this conversation that his name is Raka. It's more, if I were to say it with the Kenku accent, it'd be Raka! It'd be like that.
that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
he's like the third of his name. His family has passed down that name for generations, and it brings great honor to his I was going to come up with some sort of a bird name for his family, but I can't think of it. I like kind of adding a little bit of vocabulary flavor. Anywho, he is going to inquire of you what it is you want to do next. And out of game, we spoke about going towards VORN last.
Yes.
Okay, so Raka is going to inscribe on some sort of a writing material. We'll say he's brought forth a parchment and an old ink quill, and it's like not really in great condition because they don't ever have to write to each other. But he uses it for communication with you. Maybe instead of a parchment, it's more like a leather-bound book. So he has some space to write things to you and for the more complicated conversation. And so he's asking, like, where do you want to go?
Well, I'm gonna reintroduce myself. As let me put my notes.
Oh,
Where's my
I should pull up the image.
I'm gonna reintroduce myself as Petal, or Emissary Petal, and I'm gonna explain to him that I'm an emissary of the Harlequin Court, which is a group of Fae. It's a Fae court that operates in many different places, but they're kind of based in the Feywild. That's where I come from, and I'm here to make contact and open relationships with parties here in this part of the material plane, and that's kind of my job is making contact with friendly people and groups that we would like to continue to maintain a relationship with.
Oh, okay. Raka actually nods in agreement. He is aware of what the Feywild is, to some extent. He doesn't go into detail what he knows, but he responds in the affirmative that he is aware. That it makes sense that you make good bird chief for Fey people.
And I explained that the leader of our court, the Laughing Prince, is his objectives don't always, or his actions don't always make sense even to his allies, but we always honor agreements, and like we work to protect and take care of our allies, even if what we do doesn't always make sense.
Yeah, he's a little perplexed by that, and he mentions that this cackling prince sounds very confusing. Some of the vocabulary was lost in translation. They don't have a word for laugh. They cackle, since they're birds.
Well, cackling prince is also fairly accurate, and he is very confusing to talk to.
Quite. Not Kenku. That's his race. Raka, or Raka. I should get my names straight. Raka responds, giving you a little information about himself. He's grown up in this tribe for 5 years. He's only 5 years old. He's a really young Kenku.
Okay.
But they age quickly. At least this tribe does, in my head. I'm not sure if that's lore accurate, but we've already established they're a little different. So he's only 5 years old, but he's one of the wiser Kenku, and he has specifically focused on becoming more proficient in areas of nature, and he even has acquired some abilities that he doesn't well describe, that are quite useful. In fact, he makes an excellent scout for their hunting parties, which is exceptionally important since they are flightless bird people. They cannot fly over the treetops, so they need to be able to effectively move on the ground. And so he is interested in coming with you, or in fact showing you to the area you want to go. If you are you going to tell him about VORN?
Yeah. So if he's interested in coming with us, then I want to give him the full rundown on our plan. Sneaking in there, using the amulet to control VORN, and then like using our ability to control VORN to essentially bend the local goblin population to our will. To at a minimum, I want to be able to walk out of there without having to fight our way out. But like, I would not turn down a goblin army if one was presented.
He says, "This good plan. I know of this place. Is old temple, part of destroyed village, just north of Kenku tribe."
Okay.
He says it's about
Pedal have
1 day's march walk. It comes up. He has all these strange words. Go ahead, Eli.
you should ask him whether or not like his tribe has had any prior conflicts with the goblins.
It's a good thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll ask him in Elvish. Has your group had any conflicts with these goblins in the past?
No.
Or do you guys have peaceful relations?
Goblin worms scared of Kenku. Afraid that Kenku eat goblin worms.
I can't imagine they taste good, but that's it. I would keep letting them think that.
Yeah, he uses a slightly different word for worm. Um, we'll say that there's another word in Elvish. It comes across with it with disdain, a little bit like almost like they're slimy worms. Like they're not the good worms. They're not the fresh worms that taste good. They're the nasty ones.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, that just reminded me of the meme. I'll send it to you for later.
Okay. I'm really enjoying the Kenku. Honestly, this is a really fun race to roleplay. Yeah, so it's 1 day's march walk north. Not a full day, but kind of close, which is somewhat negligible because of how dense the forest is. It's definitely going to take you through some winding paths. Maybe if there will be the occasional clearing here and there. He says that there will be plenty of good worm hunt available to you.
Okay.
Yes.
I believe we're pretty solid on worm hunt. Even after I give them all of the snake meat.
I can't take
still have
myself
a-
seriously.
We
Sorry.
still have a fair amount. And I have Goodberry if we get in a pinch, but
You do.
on the way back, if we want to maybe do a little hunting, restocking of the larder.
You did give him some of the snake.
Crossbow practice because I use my spell so much. So
Even with the spell, I still have a bunch of turtle meat too.
Yeah, I think you gave him some sort of meat after like the trade.
I did give him a bunch. I gave him the rest of my snake meat,
and
That's
the
it.
snake skin.
and I traded the snake skin.
And they were very pleased with that trade.
Yeah, good.
They probably would have told you this, but the snakes are one of their greatest enemies, and so they really hate snakes. And it's a great, not tribute. Well, I guess that word could be used.
Trophy?
Yes, that was the word I was looking for. It's like a great trophy to their people to have anything that was snake, and they definitely devoured the snake meat like lickety split. They were all over that.
Okay, I will definitely keep my eye out for a big snake to pop for them, and we come back by if that's their favorite thing. This will help build the relationship. Like my boss.
Didn't we each trade for something last game?
Yes.
Yes, we all did.
I can't remember what I traded for. I'm a loser.
You got. I can roughly remember. It's in the chat.
Yeah, it's in the chat.
You
Okay.
got the crystal, and I think you got the. Who got the pouch? Was it Elvira?
I
No.
remember the pouch and the crystal, right? I just don't remember.
I think you got the.
No, I got the crystal. 'cause I
Oh,
wanted
I'm
the
sorry.
crystal. Right.
I think I gave Cassandra the pouch. Now that I think about it.
Yeah. Because I said I want the crystal. So, thank you.
And I got
Yeah.
the efficient quiver.
Wait, do I know that like what the crystal does and all that, or is that for later?
No, that is something that you haven't figured out yet. You're gonna
Okay,
have
cool.
to probably look into that a little bit more.
I absolutely will be.
Let me make sure I have the pouch on Cassandra. Okay, there we go. I think I'd forgotten to actually add it to her character sheet. Yeah, he let's see. He does warn that there are a few areas where you're going to have to tread carefully because there are it's enemy territory between here and VORN.
Okay.
And then he also says that you are probably going to need to keep an eye out for Vegapygmies and probably some Grung, if not something else.
Veg what now?
Vegapygmies.
That sounds terrifying. Are we talking about little plant people with spears? 'Cause that's what I'm imagining.
That's roughly what he describes.
Horrifying.
Yeah,
Would Petal convey this to me?
Absolutely.
if he
I
doesn't,
want
Cassandra
everyone
will.
to know we need
Oh
to be
no, I
worried
would like
about
shark
this.
because I speak Elvish too, so I would also like jump with pedal.
Okay, so since Guy like can't really follow the conversation since it's in Elvish or whatever, he's just gonna like go sit in a corner and pull out the book and start looking through it.
1 second here as I check one more thing.
Betcha piggies. No, I don't know how to spell. Translating from Elvish.
Oh, and then he ends up. Let's see. He lets out a bird call, and within a couple seconds, out of the trees flies one raven, which lands on his shoulder, and looks at you and goes "Caw!" And he says that this is his what's the term I want to use? His pet.
Okay.
But his companion. It doesn't have a name, but it assists him in his scouting and that sort of thing.
Okay. I'm definitely gonna. So he said he's got some abilities. I'm thinking he might also be a ranger like myself. Can I do like an investigation check, just to like between like watching him and asking him questions to see if he's like a ranger or more of like a druid?
Sure, go for it. Gosh, I don't know what that would be.
I got a 6.
That's enough that you know he's not a ranger. He just doesn't. Something about him doesn't really match the ranger description. The rest is up to up for interpretation.
Okay.
Oh, I just had this thought, but Elvira at some point would be interested if there's any other like magic users, because I know like he mentioned like having abilities or something, but like
Oh,
any other members of the community that might be considered like even their version of like sorcerers or wizards or something like that.
he says there is a shaman of the tribe, but it's more of a ceremonial title than anything.
Okay.
Yeah. Wise, wise bird, wise Kenku. They go to is the big chief of the tribe will consult him before going to before attacking any enemies or doing anything that's particularly challenging or difficult or perhaps in need of wisdom. So that shaman is more of like a wise man than anything.
Okay.
Hey Dan,
Fascinating culture.
Yes?
I went ahead and like rolled an investigation check to like look through the book and see if I could find anything that roughly like matched the description that Petal gave, like plant people. I got an 18.
Oh, it's definitely a Vegapygmy. You wouldn't know the stats, but you'll know that it's a Vegapygmy if you want to look it up in the on either Google or Volo's Guide to Monsters. It should be. Actually, I don't think it's in either of those. I think it might be core material because it's from the Tomb of Annihilation book.
Yeah, I know. I've been like looking.
Okay. Yeah, just
D&D stuff.
try not
like,
to look at the stats, but yeah, that's what it is if you're curious. I can also put out an image here, I guess.
Yeah. Well, like is what information does the book have? I guess.
Oh,
Well,
I
that's
see what you're saying.
horrifying.
Because like the book itself wouldn't have anything on like, oh, it has such and such amount of strength.
They're fungal creatures that live in simple tribes. They're primitive plant type folks. There's not a whole lot that you would know without actually encountering one.
Mm-hmm.
they're made of fungus. And that probably grosses you out a little bit. um, Raka says that they aren't good worm food.
Yeah.
They are not good worm
I
food.
imagine they would be.
They
Do I
tend to
come
stay.
across? So is the handout what is this handout here basically the information that I have access to?
Yeah. Don't look at the stats, but you can look at bio info if you have access to that.
Yeah, it doesn't say what the stats are.
Okay, good. Yes. Actually, this is what I meant to show you. I gave you the wrong one. You
Okay.
basically just know what they look like from a description from him, and that they are some sort of a fungus. But
It's funny because if they're a fungus, they're actually closer to animals than plants.
they really are. I was thinking that too. It's weird they're called vegapygmy and not fungapygmy or something. Fungapygmy would probably be more
I mean, they
fitting.
do blend into the vegetation. So.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they do carry spears, and they do sometimes wear armor. Looks like they have some sort of fungal man's
It's like
best
they were
friend.
born in ghillie suits.
They're born in ghillie suits. I like that. That's great. Yeah. He says that there's really not much to prepare for. He will lead you there if you are ready, and you won't need to make any navigation rolls for this part of the trip because he knows the way. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, today is quite the hot day. That rain from the previous day, or hailstorm with rain, is just has turned into extreme humidity. It is just disgusting. It's not long in your tramp into the forest before the tree cover gets a little bit more dense, and you start walking by like little bodies of water, little ponds, very small brooks, and Raka tells you that this is an area that is particularly full of, what would he call them? He calls them bloodworms. So something that is not good to have on you, but good eating. So bloodworms is how he describes them. Though maybe not as big of a deal to the birds because they have plumage.
Okay, so like leech, I'm picturing some sort of like leech worm type thing.
Yeah, it kind of
It's
sounds
good
like a
to have
leech.
in you, so it's good to be eaten.
No, it's not good to have
No,
on you, but
not-
it is good eating.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
makes
Yeah,
good worm
yeah.
food, but it is bad for you if they get on you. That's what you're
Gotcha.
saying. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
And so he's going to instruct you on this very narrow path between what is kind of like a bog now, is developed into a bog. I don't have a map for this, so it's going to be theater of the mind. Off on the left of you, there is an expanse of water with like cattails growing out of it and lots of reeds and such. And then on the right-hand side, it becomes a little bit narrower and funnels into one of those brooks that kind of makes its way towards the river Ocean Star. Kind of goes a little bit southeast. The path gets very narrow and your footing is not very good. Raka sticks out his wings in order for balance. and he walks 1 foot in front of the other very slowly. So if I could get a dexterity check from each of you, if you want to go through this area. This is the most direct area. He says there's other ways around, but this is the best way.
You said a dexterity check?
Or I guess it wouldn't be dexterity. It would be acrobatics. That's what I meant.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
It's the same difference.
yeah. So like we can walk like even slower to.
He's already walking really slowly.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
so there's like nothing we can do to mitigate the risk.
You'd basically be at a standstill if you slowed down anymore.
Okay.
You're at a very, very slow pace.
Nice.
I got
Picture,
a 22 on my acrobatics.
very nice. Picture, if you will, Smeagol leading Frodo through the swamp. That's kind of what I have in my head a little bit. So you're going through the bog. Has Elvira rolled?
Oh yeah, sorry.
I'm gonna roll Keegan's in with Cassandra because he's still tagging along. He hasn't really said much. But
Yes, a 10.
10. Let's see what Cassandra gets. She gets a 12. All right, you all managed to get it across it quite with somewhat with ease. Elvira, you lost your footing a little bit and you stuck your foot into the water, so you got a wet shoe or boot. You got swamp foot.
What's that?
Yeah, you got swamp foot on
Yeah.
1 foot. But you know, you didn't fall in, so that's pretty successful. Raka makes it across no problem. He's been through here many times. I was about to go into a bird voice, but he can't speak. He goes ah a little bit, kind of laughs a little bit at your misstep, but but in a kind way, and he's like signaling you to follow him onto more solid ground. And
Thank you.
suddenly he sets out his wing, kind of like this, like whoa, stop, and he puts his pinion feather up to his mouth. And if he could go shh, he would, but he doesn't have a tongue, the same kind of tongue and stuff. He takes the wing that was stopping you and he points ahead. Let's have a perception check from each of you.
19.
19?
Oh no, only 6.
6?
14.
14. And
Ignore that one.
Cassandra gets a 9. Was that the real one?
Ignore that 19.
Oh, okay. Alright, let me check the log here. 19, 14, 6, and 9. So Elvira and Cassandra and Keegan do not see what he's pointing at. He's pointing off into the distance. There's another portion of the bog that snakes ahead. There's not so many trees, so you can actually see quite a distance here. It's opened up as the trees aren't growing in this bog. The rest of you, so Petal and Guy, you see a dark figure probably about 100 yards ahead of you. It seems to be walking on quite long legs, and it has what looks like kind of an insectoid-like body. And it has 6 legs, and in one of them it has what looks like a spear, and in the other hand it has something else. It's hard to identify from this distance. It's really quite far away. It's about 100 yards. It's difficult to make things out at that range. And the odd thing is, it seems to be out in what looks like should be deep water.
So either it's walking on the water somehow, or its legs are even longer than it.
That's for it to know and us to find out.
I'd rather not. I just realized I should probably roll for Sharkan instead of me for that acrobatics check because I'm riding
I keep
Sharkan.
forgetting that I need to do that too because I
yeah.
have a mount as well.
That's right.
But it's okay. Sharkan probably would have passed. I think we should hide.
As I manipulate you with my music.
I think we should stuff.
Yes.
I second this motion.
All right, let's have some stealth checks.
So if you have a mount, I've never been good at playing like pets and stuff like that. Would you roll like I would roll queen stealth
Yes,
and not my own?
Yes.
So it would be her dex or her dexterity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Sharkan is not in a hiding mood apparently because I rolled a 10.
Cassandra got a natural 20.
So I rolled a 5, but that's with
I got a total
only a
of 13.
13 for Guy.
Yep.
Petal got a
Be
4.
like, girl, I love you, but I tamed you for nothing.
Elvira got a 5. And one last check.
I'm gonna turn you into pink quills.
Raka got a 12. First roll from Raka. Okay. Describe how you want the stealth for me. In front of you, there are short reeds and cattails that are growing just at the water's edge. But as you're on the land now, there's maybe ankle-high grass. There's a boulder or two up ahead of you, but they aren't much more than 2.5, 3 feet tall, maybe, and they're a stone's throw from where you're standing at the moment.
Guy is just gonna go prone on the ground and like try and maneuver so that one of those like short stones is like as blocking as much line of sight as possible, even if it's not much.
Petal's gonna kind of like lay down on top of Sharkan and like try to make himself small on Sharkan's back and just go with whatever Sharkan's gonna do.
Okay.
He's gonna like hide in the tall grass. I'll like hold still too.
And something is gonna scare Elvira to the point where she just jumps on Queen's back, and because Queen's not tamed and doesn't know what's going on, gets scared too and goes Wah! With the big XP because she only wants 6.
Cassandra decides to move to the water's edge and get her feet a little bit wet just to stay in the reeds. And Raka just goes prone with Guy, and he does a soldier crawl towards the one of the boulders. It takes him a moment to get there, and then he gets into a crouch behind the boulder. As for the other two of you, Petal and Elvira, unless you choose to make noise, there has been no response to your presence here.
Okay, that's good.
Surprising, but
Yeah,
You know the
let's
day's
just
still young.
keep going on about our day.
You know, just a tiger and an axe beak traveling through the swamp. What's new?
I see this all the time. This is normal. I like that song.
There's a lot more.
We got the bow and arrow. I got the wit.
Thank you, as always, for providing the music. Let's see. Are you continuing onward Is that what your goal is, or are you sticking it out for a little bit?
Yeah, I'd like to give giant-legged, creepy spear bug guy a wide berth.
Okay.
He's not gonna like come after us. I see no reason to initiate conflict, but
You,
yeah.
with minor difficulty, find a path around, and there's some better cover on the opposite side of what would be kind of the path. It's not an established path. It's just the way that Rocco is going to bring you. And he takes you on a little bit of a detour, and as you're passing slowly, quietly in this foliage, you look over to where that one creature was, and you see there's at least 3 of them over there, and they are busy. You can see them clearly enough now. They are certainly walking on top of the water. They have almost like suction cup feet as they stride on the water, and then you see one go and thrust its spear down into the water, and it comes back up with this wriggling creature on the end of it, and then another one over there casts a net into the deep part of that portion of the bog and pulls up something else. They seem to be a little distracted with their hunting, and you have gone unnoticed.
I'm gonna ask Raka, are these guys like friendly?
He says they are not friendly. They are quite dangerous, actually. And he likes to stay away from them. He's never actually engaged with one before, but he's heard of what happens. They are not to be trifled with.
They're like alligators. Like, as long as you mind your business, they mind their business.
Yeah, that's kind of what he imparts to you. Yeah, like, oh well, if you stay away from them, they will probably leave you alone. These ones didn't see us. Just don't get close.
Cool. Yeah.
They're probably more interested in what they're doing, but don't rule out the possibility that they could change their mind and want you dead. They're just like any other creature in Chult.
Right. Always offer the possibility of violent murder.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. He also gives you a name for them. He says that they are commonly referred to as bog striders. Though there is another name they go by that he is unable to pronounce or unable to remember. Keep forgetting he's writing, not speaking. He cannot actually remember the more proper name for them, so he calls them bog striders.
Okay.
Dude, what are we? So are we out of like? What's the terrain around us now that we're?
It's more of the same, but you have passed the bog striders.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we're still in like a wetlands area.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Elvira, you feel a slight, a very slight prick on your ankle.
And I'm gonna hold it together, and I'm gonna, while I'm on top of Queen, take my foot and like try and look at it, and like wipe off whatever happened.
Yeah, you look at it, and wrapped around your ankle is about a 6-inch leech with its teeth buried deep into your skin.
Am I able to just pull it off?
Yeah, you're gonna take.
Am I able to just pull it off?
You're gonna take a point of piercing damage for tearing it off, but yeah, you get it off.
Okay.
Next time I can just like cut that off.
Will you get the teeth out and everything?
Yeah, I'll pull out I'm like spin my dagger over there. I can just like cut that.
Okay.
Do a Constitution saving throw for me, Elvira. Purpose unknown.
13?
Okay.
Blood curse girl, you're gonna die now.
If anything happens, you don't know. least for now. Yeah.
That's just the way I like it.
Are you gonna tell anyone, or does Petal know? Was that in game or out of game that he said
No, I'm
that?
gonna be like, oh my god, look at this. Here, you want some? And I'm gonna give it to what's his face.
Here, do you want some? Raka looks at it, turns his head a little bit. It's just
The Lion King, slimy yet satisfying.
and he says, slimy worm food, but good worm food. And then he asks to take a quick look at you, just to see if he's going to do a quick medicine check and get a natural 1. You're just fine. You're gonna pull through this, Elvira. Nothing happened.
Oh, good to know.
Good.
I'm gonna rub some dirt in it and just keep on going.
Yeah, he says, maybe take like an arrow, one of Petal's arrow tips, and hold it over the fire, and then like cauterize if you're seriously concerned about it. But the blood will stop coming out in a few minutes.
I mean, if it's not bleeding that bad, I'll probably just like put like something over it and hold pressure to it.
There you go. Yeah, and it's on your ankle, just as a reminder. Okay, so he takes you back onto this path. After that, it's like, oh, don't worry about that wound. It will heal. Your travel for the next like hour or two is pretty like mundane. There's not really a whole lot going on. It's as if you're passing out of one of the more moderately dangerous areas into something that's maybe a little bit more safe. You hear the sound of birds in the distance, and his pet raven, which has been perched on his shoulder, takes off and flies off into the trees, cawing. And it's not long after that you move into a portion of the forest that looks a little odd. Definitely looking out of place. Anyone who has a good nature skill, you're welcome to roll for it, but the plants
I got it.
look unhealthy here.
19.
Yeah, especially to you, Elvira. They look really abnormally unhealthy. Like, this is, like, well, why would you care? It's a jungle. This is the forest. Like, we're just here to go somewhere. No, these plants look shriveled up. Some of them are black. Like, almost jet black.
Ask, what is that? What is the guy's name? Raka, thank you. I'm like, hey, Raka, I just noticed, like, what happened here? Because I imagine it probably looks like where, like, a fire went through.
The color is...
And then maybe not, like, burned up, but, like, all of a sudden everything's blah, 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 and then, oh.
Yeah. Well, he notices it, too. It's the color of being burned, but the plants are still there. They're kind of shriveled up, wilted. What's odd is it's like a stripe across the path that you're going. Like, the stripe is a continuing line that seems to be going off into receding into the distance, and it's the width of this portion of death is it's about 25 feet in width.
Okay.
Completely cuts off your progress. Raka says, I don't know. I've never seen this before. This is new to me.
I want to cast Detect Magic.
Okay. Double check something here.
Here we go.
Okay, I'm just reading something real fast. Okay. What was your roll? Let's see.
Oh, I don't roll for that. I just cast it.
Oh, sorry.
And it
That's right.
lasts-
That's right. I keep forgetting that.
What is that?
Rem-
Like diamond thing with the thing in the middle.
I need a reminder of how it works, though. Let's see.
Yeah, so yeah, I just pulled it up. For the duration, you sense the presence of magic within 30 feet of you. If you sense magic in this way, you can use your action to see a faint aura around any visible creature or object in the area that bears magic, and you learn its school of magic, if any. The spell can penetrate most barriers, but it is blocked by 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, a thin sheet of lead, or 30 feet of water dirt. And it lasts for, I get it's up to 30 feet and whatever the duration is for, I don't know. I think we've done it like in 10 minutes before or something like that.
Yeah, I remember now. Okay. I tried to decide how I want to answer that because it could go one of two ways. I'm going to go with this. You see an aura along that trail, kind of in the middle, like a thinner line. You detect necromancy as the school of magic.
Raka, and I'm going to kind of like start backing everybody up out of this place. Like, are we on, like, okay, so if it's like a scar, right, like a line,
Yeah.
are we on, we're still probably like on the very edge of it, right? Or did it take me a second to notice?
You, you definitely had enough time to stop so that you don't go into it if you want.
Okay, so we can still back up from the magic. Yeah, let's just back up back to where like stuff's not dead. Go back to the not dead area. And I'll explain.
Yeah, Raka and Cassandra are not sure what to make of this. Cassandra does make mention of the fact that you did release Thrond, but I mean, this would be the first that you've seen anything like this, so she doesn't know what to make of it.
So when we get out of the dead plant area, I want to ask Raka if he's ever like known of necromancy around here, or there anything like in your legends that you can think of, in your folklore that you can think of that would look like this. Like I know you may not know anything like right now or within your lifetime, but
he doesn't know, but instead of let's just say this, he doesn't understand what's happened. He definitely.
I'm sorry, I didn't tell him that. There's a necromancy has done this. It's like death magic. And you can see it in the center where it still lingers.
Yeah. He actually says, "Stay here," and he walks a little bit closer, not all the way up to the edge, and then he takes his not hands, but his feathered hands. I guess he does have hands at the end, sort of. He's a kenku, and he waves them and does a little flick of the wrist, and you see one of the plants that's in the middle of that aura perk up and turn green momentarily, and then shrivel up and die immediately afterwards.
That's necromancy for you. Also, where did you learn to do that? I thought you said you didn't have any magic users. That was fantastic.
He says,
I can do stuff like that too. That's how I saw the magic.
He says, I don't speak of it much, but I can do some things.
That's very impressive, young man.
I suspect you are a druid.
He's not familiar with that
They're
word.
more common in the Feywild than they are on the material plane, from my understanding. But they're here.
Yeah, he doesn't know the word so much. Though it rings a bell, he's like, Druid. It sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
You should get out of Chult sometime. Come visit me in the Stardew Mountains or wherever I'm from.
Somewhere in Feyre.
Visit me, wherever I'm from.
I can't remember where I
I'm sure
live.
down somewhere.
I'd hate to be
I'm really
Elvira.
told you, I'm going crazy.
I'd hate to be Elvira when you have to fill out like tax forms and you need to put down your address. You're like, I don't, wherever I'm from, comma Faerun, comma, whatever.
This place.
This place.
This mortal plane.
Hand-drawn shrug emoji.
He Raka says, I'm not certain that I'm comfortable going across this. It seems
I
dangerous.
wouldn't be either. I was about to ask if you think there'd be a way. I want to like look around and see if I can see a way around the aura. Like,
Perception.
how long is this line? Which I imagine probably was like a scar in my head.
Yeah, if you do perception, we can find out. Anyone's welcome to join in
Okay.
or assist or whatever.
I have a different idea. I'm gonna pull out my flaming sword, and I'm going to like see what happens if I like try and cut through, like just cut through the necromancy,
Okay.
like
I did roll an 11 on my perception though.
5 feet.
21 on my perception.
Okay, I will address both. Elvira doesn't see where the end is. Petal notices that it makes a bend and loops back towards the direction that you are coming. And not too far off in the distance. He can just barely make it out. What's your name? Guy. You're going to cut one of the plants? Is that what you said you're going to do?
Oh, well, okay. So you said it was like 25 feet across.
Yes.
So in grid terms, that would be like 5. That would be like
5 of
5
those,
feet,
yeah.
Right. Okay. So like at that first grid that's like nearest to us, I guess I'm just.
I better
like,
draw
attack
this
the
for you.
Grid. Can I attack the grid of plants?
Let me make you a quick sketch. This will help things.
Yes.
Because I'm having a hard time describing it.
Okay.
Roll 20's taking a second here. Basically, yes, it's 20 feet, 25 feet wide, and it's almost like, you know how when a snail or a slug moves across the ground, it leaves a little trail behind it? It's like that, but it's dark and it's black.
Yeah.
And it looks gross. Wow, this roll 20 is really slow right now.
So can I like attack the 5 by 5 thing of plants that's in front of me? I guess like try and like clear a path with my flaming sword.
You could, yeah. And I do not understand what's going on. Why is roll 20 so stupid slow right now? Oh, there we go. Now it's not. Alright, now that my computer, or now that the thing has caught up with me, I can actually draw you that image. So, it's black. By the way, I would just say that it is what you would expect to, if you're thinking of just like pure death.
Yeah.
This is not to scale.
Okay.
Your path is going to be the brown line that I'm making. It's
Okay.
not really a path. It's just where Raka was bringing you.
Yeah.
And then everywhere that's not on the path, there are trees and bushes.
Yeah.
Thick vegetation. Pretty tall trees. In fact, there's a tree in the middle of that black path right here. And as you look closely at it, you can see that the blackness actually only goes up about 5 feet up the tree, and the rest of it
Oh, I was
seems
just thinking that.
like not quite dead yet, like it's going to die because it's cut off from its roots, that sort of thing. But the black aura
Yeah.
didn't touch it.
I already have a plan.
And
I
am I
recently
like kind of successful in clearing out that like?
I'm
five-
sorry, I keep forgetting to answer your question. I'm getting
Not that
distracted.
Sorry to interrupt.
You cut down some of it, and there is almost no effect, at least in the area you're swiping at.
Okay. I'm gonna I'm gonna step onto the black part. Like just within that first like.
That first 5 feet.
You should. I don't think you should.
You don't feel anything. Do
Okay, cool. That's good. Okay. Come back because I think I have a plan. I want to show him the tree.
we'll say your passive perception doesn't go off with the stepping on
Okay.
the first 5 feet. Yeah, well, we'll say that.
Wait. As we've leveled up, I've been working on a new spell. And I thought it might be useful in combat. And see, we've had so much, I wanted to boost my arsenal up. But I think it will work in this case because it's erupting earth.
Ooh.
And so, just like the earthbenders in Avatar, I can just cause earth to out of the ground.
Ooh.
So I show everyone the tree, and I'm like, look, it only goes up so far. So if we could get above it, then we can just walk across.
All right, guy's gonna nod and he's gonna like take.
So
take some
literally,
steps
I
out
can make. Now I want to go out alone first and test it in the area that I can see through, like detect magic that still has like necromancy and stuff.
Yeah.
And if I have to cast it again, I will.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
While you're figuring
but
that
I
out.
want to see if like.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Huh?
Go ahead.
I think it last time I used it, we ran it for about 10 minutes. I think.
Let's see.
Yeah.
The detect magic, yeah, that's for 10 minutes.
Okay, cool. So, let me pull the map back up. So, I see, if I remember correctly, I can see like a thread of this necromancy aura going through the middle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like sticking up like a haze through everything.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so I want to try 1 second.
While
Because
you're
I just added it. I keep forgetting to add spells when I level up, so that's why they pop up randomly.
That's all right. While you figure that out, Guy, you see something on the ground near the aura. You focus your vision in on it. Looks like an animal. It's on its side. You hear a very faint, like almost whimper sound come from it. It slightly moves. Do a perception or investigation, your choice.
Let's do perception. 16.
You see that it's a deer, that it's on its side. It's a buck. His antlers are brittle and broken. Its hide is patchy and falling off. You see on its exposed flesh wriggling little maggots.
Huh. how likely is that inside the no-go zone?
Pretty much right next to it.
Okay.
Okay, definitely don't want to go in there.
I think the deer probably ate something.
I don't know, and I'm not looking to find out.
Right. So like I would stay away from as I'm trying to figure out this. Yeah.
You heard me when I said I stepped out of the no-go zone.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I hear that.
He stepped up with sheep,
Right.
so he's fine.
Since the deer is right next to it and it's still alive, right? You said it was whimpering.
Very faintly.
Okay. Well, I've still got my sword, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the poor thing out of its misery.
That, unfortunately, is a little beyond your reach with the sword.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can get it with a bow and arrow if you want.
Oh, thank you, Liz.
I mean, I can get it.
Okay, yeah.
It
They're
looks
kinda
like
weird, so don't want to-
it looks like there's a material component to that spell. According
Yeah,
to,
and once I should have read it before I mentioned this because it sounds a little more combat-y than I wanted it to. Like it's not going to make like a clean earth bridge. I wanted to see what you thought about like using it though. Since
That's
you're the
it.
DM.
It's cool. It's a cool idea because it makes a 20-foot cube and doesn't say that it disappears. That I see. So, in my
Yeah,
opinion,
it would be tough to get across.
it'd be fair game to like acrobatics check across it, but I think that missing piece of obsidian is going to be a problem. That's the material
Yeah, I keep
component.
forgetting about this. Okay, that makes sense.
No problem. No, good idea.
Wait, Rocco, do you know where I could maybe get just even a piece of obsidian?
Goes. He's not sure at first, and then after a little description, he says, like, well, not from here, maybe down towards the volcanoes, further south.
No, it's fine. It's fine. That won't help us in this moment, so a girl can ask, though.
Yeah. He could maybe help you out, but
All right.
it's many miles from this place.
Okay, so plan 2. If everyone remember back at summer camp when we did the low ropes.
What?
I think if we like cheerleader through everyone across, that's 25 feet.
20 feet across.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no trees, like we couldn't go over the trees, right?
I'm not sure. You'd have to check.
Okay, can I do a perception check?
Yes.
22?
You believe you could probably jump across tree branches or climb across tree branches, but it would be difficult at the very least.
Okay. Looks doable, but
We're gonna make this
challenging.
Raka for now. That's his character. You do notice, though, Petal, that you certainly could go around it to the right, like over here. It bends around, and then it comes back towards the path, but you can't see any further just because of the vegetation. So you could maybe go around it.
Yeah, because I'm willing to walk around it.
Okay, well, yeah, then let's see if we can go around it. I was just assuming that it was like gonna not be an option. But yeah, okay, we can go around it. Let's try to go around it.
Okay. What do you have any particular approach you want to go with? Like, this is going to be difficult terrain you're going through, so it's going to be slow going and maybe a little loud. Definitely very bushy, full trees.
Well, that sounds like somebody who's not a ranger with jungle as their preferred territory to deal with, because sounds
Okay.
suck, I guess. I don't know.
Well, they gotta have an XP.
Right. I don't know about you, but me and
Oh.
Sharkan are going to be fine.
So two of you are just
So
fine.
we're definitely going cross country. Not
Oh, yeah.
afraid of no difficult terrain.
Is Winston with us?
No, Winston's back,
Oh,
with,
that
the,
is silly. Yeah.
back with the Kinkies.
Well, can like Guy fit on Sharkan? I don't think he can fit on Queen's the bird. I don't think I barely fit on Queen.
Oh, I forgot you
I'm
left Winston.
telling you, Guy, we need to get you a ride.
I know.
He likes Winston.
The ride must find him.
That is also true.
Okay. Well, I've heard no explanation as to how you want to do it. So as you're tramping through the bushes, you're not making a ton of noise. You're making certainly a reasonable amount for what you're walking through, and you're not like yelling or shouting or anything, but you do make some noise. And one of you steps on a branch, goes. It wasn't Petal though. He was very sure to not step on that branch. It was Guy, and everybody else freezes and looks at him. In the distance, which was previously full of birdsong, you notice it's very quiet. Nothing else in the moment. You're all a little bit on edge after that. Get a little bit further. You can see the trail, the path, that dark aura trailing off into the distance. You actually have access back to the path again, and it moves off out of sight, off to the west side of the path. For all you know, that is, you probably won't run into it again. It's up to you what you want to do. If you want to investigate it or not.
I don't know. I say we keep trucking. We're on a mission here. We got to get to this Guardian statue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Before we move on, let's take 5, just so that I can flesh out a little bit more for the next spot.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
pick.